right, folks, grab a seat and pour your drink neat as Whiskers and Whiskeys presents Tales of the Trophies, Season 4, Episode 1, Best of the Rest. I'm Mike with EJ. How's it going, pal?
It's going swell. 4 seasons. Four seasons. It's a long time. We're a long ways away from that. Our first couple pilot episodes in my basement.
It's our inaugural senior year. Hopefully, we have many more super senior years on top of it. But yeah, it is. Yes, we have come a long way. Some things though have changed. Some things have not. I want to talk about me. So I went to the zoo today with my kids, with my 2 kids, and let me just say, children are a blessing first and foremost, an absolute blessing. That being said, on the way home, the trip that normally takes, so, me being on leave too, I kind of forgot that, like, if you drive somewhere at 5:30 in Pittsburgh, that's on a Wednesday, that's rush hour. A trip that normally takes 40 minutes was going to take an hour, which is fine. But then we ran into 2 accidents, not one, but 2 accidents, which really set, the ticking time bomb. Like, we weren't even close. We weren't, Ethan Hunt, Mission Impossible close. We were screwed. I went and we got Chick-fil-A for dinner. I have 2 spicy chicken sandwiches in my fridge. This is, by the way, actually, before I go on before I go any further, we're in the trust tree here. Okay. Right, EJ? Are we in the trust tree?
Yes.
Trust tree? Okay. All the listeners, trust tree. My wife doesn't listen. I know, there's not a ton of listeners right now. Watch this episode that blows up and just goes crazy. But if any of you fuckers tell my wife about this. So I have 2 Chick-fil-A chicken sandwiches in the fridge, spicy chicken sandwiches. Of course, she knows about that. Went out and got ice cream afterwards. After we, put my daughter down, went out, got ice cream, actually got custard, went to the Meadows. One of my favorite flavors is available right now, Cookie Monster. It's a vanilla ice cream that they make their own. They have 2, the Meadows has 2 flavors of the day, right? So this is Cookie Monster, and it rotates throughout the month. They had put out a calendar, so and you plan. Got Cookie Monster, which is vanilla ice cream dyed blue with massive chunks of Oreo and cookie dough in it. I got a medium cup to take home and a quart to take home. Got those in the fridge right now too. Also got a little bottle of Hatozaki from small batch whiskey from the Kyokyo distillery from Akashi City in Japan that we're going to give a nice little heavy pour to right now. Because you know what, man, that ride home really got on the old nerves. So, which, it's fine. Kids are a blessing, right? But my gosh, people driving like idiots, 2 accidents. When you think, you're making a Kurt Russell escape from New York, you're going to make it, it's going to be fine. And bam, 2 accidents right in your face. Screws up your whole plans. Now I'm going to nicotine myself up here. Double decker. No one told my mom either about that. And then drink my little Japanese whiskey. And here's to you as you sit. What are you up to right now, by the way? As I, share that story. What are you doing?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you texted me when you did, because I am still at the hotel. I had a later night last night. I slept horribly last night, so I was getting a little sleepy. I don't know why. No idea. Got home like around midnight, which is fine because my clock's all weird anyway. So
yeah.
With just having the girls and having to be up in the morning anyway, and I'm literally like 200 feet away from my office. So no big deal, right? I can, still get decent amount of sleep, even being home at midnight, and didn't have to really be anywhere till 9 a.m. this morning. I don't know what it was, but I don't think I actually fell asleep till maybe like 3, just like staring
really?
at the ceiling type
No
thing.
way.
And I felt like I had a decent amount of like, good night juice. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea. It was weird.
Damn.
No reason.
Wow. That very
It's been
rarely happens to me.
yeah, I was say it's been a while because usually it's just you're exhausted, and then it was like I had a couple of adult beverages, which I was thinking like
Yeah.
this is gonna make me sleep, right?
Yeah.
This is awesome. Nope, wide awake.
I know free ads, but free ads, you should download the Calm app and pay for the subscription so you listen to McConaughey tell you a story. That one story that, well, hello there. Like just that
I have the
one
free
story.
version.
Yeah. You should man. Well, I'm sorry, but am I incorrect in assuming that well, I'm not assuming anything. I'm absolutely correct when I state that you are alone, kids free, at a hotel room in a different state, and you have presumably a belly full of colony girl pizza right now.
Yeah, there's only one slice left.
Yeah, I fucking hate you so much. I mean, it's fine. Again, kids are a blessing. Kids are a blessing. I am so blessed.
So this is probably a poor time to text your wife about joining the zoo membership because we already have it. We're Kelly's like,
dude, it was
a pro. She's been already like 6 times since we moved.
We actually talked about that on the way home. How much? Well, but you guys are so close to it. But like, it's
How are we so close to it?
It's I'm like 40 minutes away with traffic. I was an hour and a half today.
Yeah, we're closer distance wise, but it's the South Hills. We don't get to just shoot down a highway.
Where you are now is
weed
very
through
close.
the stupid places to get
where
there.
You are now. You're super close. I would just. I mean, yeah.
I challenge that.
How long does it take you to get there?
I've only been once, and it was like 45 minutes. It's the South Hills of Pittsburgh. If 9 miles is like an hour.
Yeah, that's. I know. I know.
It is. At least you have, obviously not tonight, but on most nights you have at least the hope of like a 2-lane, 3-lane, 4-lane highway.
Yeah, I got off 28 and I was like, I actually took a shortcut because it's so stupid that 28 makes you go through, like you get off of 28 to like go through like Deutschtown to get back on the 279, which is insane. Like, why don't we just have a bypass? Yeah. But Waze is like, if you turn to Chestnut Street and then make a left on like an alley way further down, you can just jump in front of all those fuckers, which I was like, oh boy, I feel kind of weird about doing this morally, but like, haha, fuck you. And then 2 accidents later.
Yeah.
I can't fault my son for screaming because he was due to, right? Like he's hungry, like, and it's okay. But then, like when he was asleep, and Lexi started screaming, I'm like, you have got to be effing kidding me right now, because like, dude, you just had a day. Like you had so much fun. We went out for a big walk in the morning. Like we played, and like the whole morning was outside, and then took a nap, and then went to the zoo. And then just like when she started yelling, I'm like, what is your problem right now? Like you're getting Chick-fil-A too. Like
because that was driving her.
Oh, well, she does not care. The thing that she does love is dips. Like she is Martin Short's character from Only Murders in the Building, where like this girl literally lives off dips. And like we introduced her a Polynesian sauce, and it was like, I mean, she the same French fry. She ate an entire thing of Polynesian sauce dip with the same French fry. She just dips it in, sucks off the sauce. Dips it in, sucks off. It's like, that's so gross. It's such a soggy French fry. You have 2 chicken tenders right here, which she doesn't want to eat. So
no, let her live.
Yeah, whatever. Well, and I am living now. So cheers. But again, kids are a blessing. I am extremely blessed. So
okay. Now that you guys have heard us vent,
it's good full circle, because that kind of brings us back to some of the ridiculousness of season 1, episode 1. It's a bucket. So there we go.
Well, actually, that was season 1, episode 2.
We recorded them back to back.
But we recorded. So there was like there was a double pilot, essentially.
Yeah, double pilot. Yeah.
We got greased up, and then once it got to the bucket, it started to devolve.
Yeah. Sure did.
So season 4,
Mhm.
best of the rest.
Best of the rest.
So this is season 1, Big Ten. Season 2, SEC. Season 3 did the Big 12, and now with the realignment, we decided that this was going to be the trophies we haven't talked about from the formerly Pac-12 and the ACC. There are plenty of other trophies in general, but we decided that we wanted to try to get these last Power 4 now trophies spoken for. And I think I actually told you offline that as I was looking through the episode list, as I was just kind of compiling what was available, trying to figure out like how many of them were going to actually happen this year, just so that, we can try and, provide the best trophies for this season. I remember making a comment like, you know what? I don't know about this season, and I can tell you that was from, so I had done this episode schedule a while ago, and then now it's time to dive in, right? And I don't know what the hell I was talking about. Like I instantly was like looking through this list, and I was like, what gave me this impression?
Well, are we? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just like, I don't know what gave me that impression that was like stuck in the back of my head that there was only a couple trophies,
a couple of gems.
Yeah, that I was excited for. I was wrong.
I would, like looking back on our seasons, I think the Big Ten was great because it had so many trophies. They're like, I think that the Big Ten probably has the most well-known. Well, the reason why we start with them, most trophies that are very well-known, plus a couple that aren't as well-known that are like gems, like Floyd, right?
Yeah.
And then the Big 12 last year really, I think, surprised both of us with how consistently good those trophies were. Like as Texas Tech, I have scheduled Texas on my schedule because I want to play for the Chancellor Spurs, baby. I already had TCU. I'm going to get that saddle. Don't you worry about that. Those Spurs, I can't wait to bring those Spurs home. So, that being said, do you feel like we might have a little like a Big 12 type of vibe season happening right now? Like
I do, because I think there are going to be a couple of known ones.
Yeah.
And ones that we just haven't gotten to yet. Similar to the Big 12 did have a couple of like the Golden Hat, like had a couple pretty famous ones.
Yeah.
But I think there's gonna be some pretty cool, not only just visual trophies, good looking trophies. I feel like that happened a lot last year where the trophy was great, but maybe the history was lacking, and it doesn't mean that it's necessarily lacking. It's just the stories aren't being told well enough.
Who could forget the war on I-4 as I go through and clean out our old list? Who could forget? Talk about history lacking, but my gosh, what a trophy. The war on I-4.
So I think we are going to have a good combination of this season of some really rich history and then some just really cool looking trophies. I think this is going to be, I think it's going to always be hard to top the Big Ten, because the Big Ten, I think, had the most consistent stories and history as well as uniqueness and trophy.
I mean, even the Eli Buck, like I think about that. Like I kind of want to be Illinois in college football so I can play for the Eli Buck every year. But
so I think we're gonna have a good time. I think this is going to be a really great way to close out the rest of these Power 4 trophies that we have to talk about.
I love it. All right, man.
And I don't think there's any better trophy. And I think I know I told you this when I saw you last. This is kind of full circle for us here, because today we're talking about the Territorial Cup, and that's played between Arizona and Arizona State.
I'm wearing the same shirt that we wore the last podcast, actually, but I have 2 Arizona Wildcat shirts upstairs. I also have my favorite hat. Again, no free ads, but free ads. Talked about in Playtime Home Field. This Arizona hat, like Make more of them, please, because like I want to buy 3 more because this hat is fresh. But anyways, go ahead.
Well, one of the reasons why this is in a moment, if this is going to come full circle for us. So I don't want to go out of order in which in the order that I have lined up here, but this trophy is a perfect one because we actually talked about it in our very first episode.
Oh, we did.
It was we just kind of talked about it. It was honestly a bit confusing when I was doing the research back then. It is now much clearer to me why we talked about it and just the clarity around those 2 trophies, the Little Brown Jug and this one. But I'm excited. This is like I said, this was the perfect one. I'm going to tell you honestly, people, this is your time now. Maybe pause us, take a pee break. This is a story. Today is going to be a true story time. So I mean, this is the time to really grab a seat, pour a drink neat, maybe use the restroom because this is a story. This had a lot of information because an incredible writer dug deep to get the information we need. And I wish every trophy had this much this much written about it. But we got a story to tell today.
Pause. Did that come through?
That's
the uncorking of my Japanese whiskey. I'm gonna just top that off real quick there. And then I'm going to put in 2 more nicotines. And I'm going to settle in because I am very excited. After a long, hard day of being blessed with kids, I'm going to settle in for some EJ story time. This is great. This is the evening I needed. After this, I'm going to have some Chick-fil-A, have some ice cream, finish up recruiting, get into my Big 12 schedule. It's going to be a great time.
Right. Okay. We ready?
We're ready.
Territorial Cup.
Territorial Cup.
Like? What do you think it looks like?
A cup. I think it looks like because you just sent the you just sent me on Instagram the gif of or a little meme of from Harry Potter of Ron making fun of Harry for being an orphan. I'm gonna say it looks like the Tri-Wizarding Cup, exactly like that. No
exactly
blue,
like that.
No blue flames, but like otherwise, very much like the Tri-Wizarding Cup.
Okay.
And for those Muggles who don't know what the Tri-Wizarding Cup is, it's big, it's silver, 2 handles. That's what I'm thinking in my head.
Okay. Well, we'll get to that in 1 second.
Where's it gold? I don't know. Silver.
Yeah,
right?
silver. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Nice. Look at me.
So the history of this rivalry. So this first matchup was actually in 1899, and this matchup. Oh yeah, this first matchup, the normal school won 11-2, and that's not a characterization on my behalf. It is actually the school was called Normal School. And that was the Arizona State University at the time was known as the Normal School of Arizona.
Wow. Man, simpler times. So even 125 years ago, simpler times.
Yeah. Just where'd you go to school? Normal. Oh, mm-hmm. Okay, good.
Mm-hmm. I'm a normie.
Yeah, I'm a normie. They won the first matchup. Arizona, however, won 20 out of the first 22 meetings.
20 of the first 22? Wow.
Yeah, following that. However, once Arizona State became a 4-year college, the series started to even out. So, as it currently stands, Arizona leads the series 51 wins to 44 losses to 1 tie.
So, I have a question. So, I have a couple questions. I actually have a question and comment. So, Arizona State was the normal school of Arizona.
Yes.
Was University of Arizona the abnormal school of Arizona, or were they just the University of Arizona?
They were just the University of Arizona.
Okay. All right. That's
So here's how this progresses.
Hold on,
State.
real quick. Just that I also want to call out the normal state normies. There is a high school near me, Mars, who now has the Fighting Planets as their mascot, they have an actual mascot, which is the planet Mars with boxing shorts and gloves. Incredible. Anyways, continue. How does it play out for the normies?
So Arizona State was previously known as the Normal School of Arizona from 1899 to 1901. So
do you think their mascot was just like a guy, like just Joe was the mascot? Like, hey,
was mascots a thing that far back? Like, was that even like I don't know?
Just how funny would it be if like we're the normal school, we're the normies, and it's just like, hey,
there's Joe.
I'm Joe.
Like Jake from State Farm.
Just like,
khakis,
yeah, and red polo and
slacks.
No, if you're a normie, you probably have a blue polo tucked in, khakis. You're wearing Docksiders, and your parents are still together. You have a younger sister. You really like Game of Thrones. You are a who's your football team?
Well, hey, if you wait 3.5 minutes,
I'll wait.
You can describe to everyone what the normies looked like.
Okay, all right. I will wait. I'll wait.
All right. So for 2 years, they were just the Normal School of Arizona. Naturally, then they decided to become the Tempe Normal School. So I assume that I don't know if they were based in Tempe at the time. If anyone's familiar with Arizona, there's a lot of the suburbs on the East Valley is what they call it. And they're massive, but there are a ton of them kind of in a row. So Tempe is one of them. And they were the Tempe Normal School from 1901 to 1925. They then become the Tempe State Teachers College for 3 years till 28. Then they were the Arizona State's Teacher College. So then they kind of started to incorporate that little Arizona State. That was until 1945. And then from 45 to 58, they were the Arizona State College.
Question: when did all the hot girls show up? When did they make the Tempe 10? When did that start?
That's a great question. I'm not sure.
Yeah. It was great. My cousin is watching Entourage for the first time. Bless him. Could you imagine watching Entourage for the first time again at like 26 years old? What a life.
And you could just like, you don't have to wait every week for the episode. You didn't have to like figure out a way to get HBO.
Well, that's what I did. I mean, I got into Entourage like in the final 2 seasons. Then I went back and watched everything. It was great. And but the first time watching it, like just imagine, like having that. That's a series I wish I could, wipe from my mind and have again. One of E's only cool moments is in the first season when he breaks up with his girlfriend and says, "By the way, I hooked up with a perfect 10 girl last night, and I fucked her again in the morning." And that's a perfect 10 from I think from Arizona State. That's where they're from. Yeah. Tempe 10 perfect. Whatever. Either way, hot girls, Arizona State go together like lamb and tuna fish. Maybe spaghetti and meatball if you're not comfortable with that reference. That's a Big Daddy quote right there. Great movie.
Yes. You guys just have to ask James Harden about his time at Arizona State, and he will let you know how much fun he had.
Yeah.
How much he enjoyed the co-eds. So Arizona State did not come under the control of the Board of Regents until 1945. So the teams did not play each other every year until 1946. So that was when they became like an actual accredited university, and they played annually from there. Prior to that, so between 1899 and 1946, they played 19 times. So not as regular, kind of spread out, and likely just because the normal school was not focused on football.
Interesting. 1946, World War II was still going on then.
Yeah.
Anyways,
not out there.
Which is ironic because the USS Arizona was a very pivotal part of World War II. But
yeah.
Anyways.
All right. Scroll down. Let them know.
Oh,
does it look like the Tri-Wizards Cup?
Hold on. Hold on. Daddy's got to get to his Google Drive. Okay.
This guy.
Yeah, I know. No. Okay, there we go.
We are still getting into the groove.
It does. Oh. Oh. Is this the trophy they use now? Is this it? Is this still the trophy they use? Is this the one they bring on the field? Sorry, I don't want to jump ahead. Okay, guys. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is awesome. This is made out of like, oh, this is great. Okay, so it is like a oh gosh, like what do you call this? Like it is like a cup, right? But like it has a fat bottom and then a long neck, and it's fluted at the top with very ornate details. It's silver of some sort with a lot of like varnish. There actually looks like there's a face on it. Like that's kind of creepy. You see that right above the logo? It looks like there's a face.
Yeah, but I don't think that's an intentional.
No, I don't think that's an intentional detail, but that's still kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very creepy. That definitely looks like a face. It's staring at me. I don't like it.
Now I can't unsee it.
Yeah.
It's like a picture. It is too.
Now you're gonna be up till 3 a.m. or you're gonna wake up at 3 a.m. and that face is gonna be
the pictures I picked just got progressively zoomed in, and it was still in frame.
Yeah, it's still in screen. You know what that face looks like? Treebeard.
Yeah,
from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So Treebeard is on this trophy. So it has like a fat base, skinnier neck, fluid at the top with some like ornate details on the top, and then like the two arms of the trophy. Is there two or is there three? I would think there might be a third one in the back, but is there just two?
I think it's just two.
Okay, just two. Right. Okay. So there's two, and they're not like directly on either side, like directly across from each other. They're offset towards the front, and there's some like ornate detailing there. Looks like Victorian in style, very ornate handles, ornate details there. And then there's a couple of feet too. It looks like there's 4 feet on this this cup as well. This thing is awesome, and the amount of like wear and tear to it is just perfect. Like, oh my god. And there's some inscriptions on it. It says Football League, foot one word with a capital B, ball one word with a capital B, league with a capital L. Foot is with a capital F in case I said B there. I think I did. Football League Championship, 1899 normal. That is
blouses. What's also hard to see above football, it actually says Arizona.
Arizona Football League Championship, 1899 normal. So this sucker was created in 1899, and the wear and tear on this thing. Yeah. Like even like there's one side like that has like clearly like a thumbprint from like someone it must have all been handed by right-handers who like grab it there, and their thumbprint is, oh my gosh.
So tying this back to the Little Brown Jug. So we talked about the Little Brown Jug, and it's known as the oldest rivalry trophy. However, that's not quite right. So, and that's where it was a bit confusing when we talked about it before. I actually had my now brother-in-law, Robbie, who is born and raised Arizonian.
Sure.
Who actually brought it up when we first started to me, that it was like, oh, actually, you talked about the Little Brown Jug, but don't forget about the Territorial Cup. And the distinction here is, so the Little Brown Jug is the oldest regularly exchanged rivalry trophy. More on that, on why the Territorial Cup is not that, but it is the actual oldest rivalry trophy. So this one came first. The Little Brown Jug was exchanged on a regular basis for the longest time.
This is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Full stop. Like, it's gorgeous. like the wear and tear on it, and it's so ornate. Like I imagine what this thing looked like when it was first created. Like, oh my god, is it silver? What's it made out of?
Yes, so it is a cup. The cup is a silver plate over a Britannia base metal,
Of course
and
it is. Of course it is.
this was manufactured by Reed and Barton, the company, and that was they were of Taunton, Massachusetts. The standard style price at the time was $20. So in 2010, which is when this little fact was sourced, that was about $462. So now you're looking at, I don't know, maybe a $600 cup.
I mean, thanks, Uncle Joe. Yeah, 600 if you're lucky. This is it's so beautiful. Like I cannot I literally can't stop looking at it. It looks so good. Like the details. Oh my god. I want this. I want this so bad.
So
Oh,
this trophy was first exchanged during that 1899 game, and it was played on Thanksgiving, which is now
love that.
a lot of rivalries, as you guys all know now, are played at the end of the year, typically around Thanksgiving weekend. Some games are usually on that Thanksgiving. It's tough because the NFL also has football on Thanksgiving, so they kind of have to share air. But this was an original Thanksgiving Day game. The teams actually shared a meal together following the game. And if you scroll down, you can see pictures of the two teams in 1899.
Oh boy. Wow. These are the two teams.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So the University of Arizona looks like, the Bad News Bears, like just an absolute ragtag group. I think they're actually wearing their jock straps around their neck, a couple of them. Uh that's insane. I assume it's not their jock straps, it's their mouth guards, but doesn't that look like their jock straps?
That kind of
Like,
looks like their jock straps.
yeah. What if it is it there? Do we know? Do we know it's not their jock
I
straps?
don't know. I don't know that it's not.
Do we
Because
know
not
it's
all
not
of them
their
are
jock
wearing
straps? Yeah, that's crazy. What a crazy look. Going back to the Harry Potter reference, these guys look like they're in Quidditch gear. Um,
Yeah, the guy in the back, in the middle, looks like a Hogwarts professor.
yes. Oh my god, I didn't even see him. Wow, I expect like a creepy, like disembodied head of a kid to be in this picture too. And then like you scroll down, and then it's the normal school. They all are wearing sweaters with a big N. Well, not all, but half of them, at least half, are wearing sweaters with a big N on it. They look much more put together. This looks straight out of like a Polo Ralph Lauren catalog because
Yeah,
some of them are like posing, like slouched over, posing, and they also have the cup, the Territorial Cup sitting ever so daintily in front of them on I don't know, a piece of gear or something like
yeah.
someone's like shoulder pads or sweater or something like that. So the University of Arizona looks a little rough, but the normal school founded in 1884 looks regal, and they're also sitting in front of. Actually, you know what I think they did with this picture? No, never mind. They must have taken their own schools because at the University of Arizona, they're just sitting on some steps. There's some dirt or sand in front of the steps. The normal school has this like ornate stairway that they're sitting on. Like it's an exterior stairway, but it's very ornate, nice stonework, nice, railings and such. Oh my gosh. No wonder they worked them so hard at the beginning. Wow.
Yeah, now I'm beginning to believe that Nebraska took this N from them because it's the Nebraska N.
Well, EJ, it's just the letter N. That's what
I know,
it
but
is.
like even the font is like Nebraska's N, and if you think about it, it is a very basic N, but at the same time, like
What Times New Roman? They
right,
took
it's
Times
just
New
like
Roman from
the
them.
most generic. Like if you think about all the lettering in all of sports, when you just have like a letter as a logo, most of them have some like zhuzh, and the Nebraska one is now becoming very evident to me as being
The
plain.
normal school N. Yeah. Wow. This
Yeah.
is. I love this trophy.
And just to give you an idea, this game was played before the forward pass was even allowed. No forward passes.
Hell yeah, brother.
And this was actually a culmination of a couple of victories for the normal school. So when they were presented this Territorial Cup trophy, it was for winning the Territorial Football League, which was an in-state league with a couple other local schools that culminated in this final game.
And you know what? Arizona State did it with 12 men. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't know if there were more, but there's only 12 people in this picture. University of Arizona had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 players. Plus the gentlemen in the suits. Maybe they played.
Yes.
Maybe they're the kickers. Who knows?
Wow. Well, Mike, when we talk about trophies, what is usually one of your favorite reoccurring themes on some of your favorite trophies when it comes to the history of them?
To the history. Well, just in general, I like size, I like girth. But if we're talking about history, I like if it's stolen.
How about missing for 80 years?
Get out of here. No way. This sucker was missing for 80 years?
So, like most great stories, this one has some intrigue. The cup went missing after being presented 124 years ago.
Hell yeah, brother. This episode of Major Crimes. Let's go.
So I'm gonna kind of give you where it was found, and then we're gonna tell the story.
Okay.
Because it disappeared for over 80 years. Now, we'll get into this. This was given once, and then it was just kept from the normal school. They got to keep it. It was their pride and joy.
Winning. Yeah.
Right. They did not exchange this again. 80 years. No one really knew where it was. And then it was found in the vault of a Tempe church.
Oh, this is national treasure. This is national treasure. Nicolas Cage found this bitch?
Why don't you guys grab a seat? This is the time to grab the seat.
This is getting good.
Pour the drink.
Wow. I can't believe I almost didn't record tonight. I almost said, I'm too tired and, I'm too blessed with kids and traffic. And, this is what I needed tonight.
So let me be very clear here and upfront that the next story is 100% credited to Doug Haller from The Athletic.
Hey, let's go, Doug. Let's go, Doug.
Interviewed the family who found the trophy and it was just such an incredible story. Again, all of this is going to come from him in his article. It's going to be a mouthful, but it's a pretty awesome story.
What's his name again?
Doug Haller.
That's the Doug theme song.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the Haller one. Okay, so again, let me just start off by saying that this trophy was a one-off prize for that 1899 league championship, and it was the property of Arizona State and was a sense of pride for those involved in the football program. So it was something that was kind of paraded around. It would pop up here and there in stories, people remembering that game, but it kind of became its own folklore on who saw it where and who actually had possession of it, because at this point there's such a gap in time that
so when was the last time it was seen?
So it was that's the thing. The story goes,
okay.
It was exchanged in 1899.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was just stories of people having it here and there, and then it wasn't definitively found again until 1983.
Whoa!
So you had people that are like, oh, it's not lost. And it was like, have you seen it? Oh, well, I heard Joe over there had it. And, President McLovin had it. And,
I drank a case of Schlitz out of it in 1972.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
So in 1983, Laura Roach, she was 11 years old. She's the youngest daughter of Herbert Bowman, who was an attorney, an Arizona state business law professor that everyone called Mac. So we're gonna consider refer to him as Mac.
I like him already. I like it.
So
why did he get that nickname? His name does not nary a Mac in sight in his name. But you know what? I like it. Big Mac. Let's go.
Big Mac. So Laura is 11. This is from her point of view.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Wednesday night in the fall, and Laura.
It's a Wednesday night right now.
While others attended the youth group activities, she says her father and the church leader, Jim Riggins, decided to clean out the vault.
Related to Tim Riggins from Friday Night Lights?
Maybe.
Probably not, but you know what?
Probably not.
Actually, yeah, probably. Yeah. The Riggins family later relocated to Permian, Odessa. Yeah. That's it. Okay.
So the first congregational church was a community staple built in 1899 and was renovated over the years. It was also considered an Arizona state church because most of the congregation consisted of university faculty, and also because it was of its downtown location, very close to campus. So, like everyone else, Mac and his wife Mary, who went by Mimi. So it's Mac and Mimi.
Oh, Mac, you sly devil.
They were active in the church. He was a moderator, served on the finance committee, and he was one of the few people that actually even knew the vault existed.
Okay.
And it was located behind the altar, a short path from the church office. And Roach remembers her.
It's very Catholic of them.
Yes.
I assume this is a Catholic church with the vault behind the altar.
Yes. So it was Laura remembers the area being kind of like dark and creepy and not something that people
wow, Catholic church behind the altar is creepy. Wow.
So
but she's a young girl, so why would she care?
Is.
Yeah, a young boy, then that's creepy. But all right, enough Catholic church jokes. Maybe I should pull back on the house. Like, psych, we're going in again. Boom.
So the vault itself was big enough for an adult to crawl in, not necessarily stand in, but crawl in. So it's a pretty big vault. And it usually just.
Would you say it's big enough for one priest and one altar server to fit into, EJ?
That was not a question asked by Doug during this interview.
Doug, you're slipping, pal. Anyways.
So the vault.
I'm sorry, Mac. You seem like a great guy. Your wife's name's me. I'm sure that you're beyond reproach. Doug, you did a great job with the story. I apologize. I'm extremely blessed, and I've had a bit of sacrament myself this evening. So, continue, EJ. We are going full circle because yes. I just did all this stuff all the time during the first two episodes. Just me just kicking in here with this stuff. So we are going full circle. Anyways, EJ, go ahead.
So Laura remembers as an 11-year-old that they had a vault, and not very many people in the church didn't need to know, right? But because Mac was on the finance committee, he would know where the vault is, because that would be where, in addition to holding Christmas decorations and celebratory candles, they would hold money and whatnot in this vault.
And that comments right now, but
as they cleaned out that autumn night, Mac and Riggins came across the gray, dirty bag tucked in the back. And, I'm sure it went down like not it, right? Because God knows, what it could have been. I don't know. It could have been a bone of a saint. Who knows, right? The church has been around.
Use condoms. Yeah. Well, but,
all sorts of things.
So all sorts of things.
They look into this bag, and what do they find? They find the Territorial Cup.
Okay, so just real quick on this, all Catholic jokes aside, because that's just too easy. This is everyone's dream. That you're cleaning out, your parents' house, your grandparents' house, or me, moving into a new home, and you're cleaning things out. And going through what's in there, and you just come across something that's in the back. It's God, what is this crusty ass thing back here? I've already knocking like cobwebs off me. Like this is just, I don't even like. I'll just grab it with gloves, throw it right into the trash can. But you just open it up, and like sometimes it's a Playboy from 1972. Second time I said 1972 this episode. I should probably choose a different year, but actually, funny story here. Actually, let me just quick right turn real quick. My dad actually in our house, whenever he was up in the attic, he found like a Playboy from 1980 something. Whenever he was up there, and he left it there. He's like, I don't know, just felt like it belongs there. Like someone kept that there for the previous owners of our home. Like we moved in that home in '94, something like that. When was my sister born? '93. So we moved in there '93. And he's like, yeah, just left it there. I don't know, just felt right, And whenever my mom eventually moves out of that home, I'm very excited to just go look at that Playboy and then just leave it right there in the attic. So like this is like, sometimes it is a bag full of crap, like maybe some old insulation. Sometimes it's a Playboy, and sometimes it's the freaking Chancellor's Cup, dude. That's insane. Like, what a feeling that must have been. How awesome.
Well.
Oh.
As awesome as it was, especially for Laura as an 11-year-old to see this trophy come out of her church vault, being like, what the hell? She remembers her dad, Mac, being a bit nervous.
Oh.
So, like I had mentioned, there had been rumors on where the trophy was and what happened, because it had these rumors, but no one definitively knew, because it was one of those things where you'd assume it was with the university, but then it was made pretty clear that it wasn't always, held by the president of the university. Like we said, drinking Schlitz out of this cup. So while there still isn't an official answer explaining how this cup disappeared for all of those years and ended up in this church vault, Mimi has an idea.
Oh, because Mimi has an idea.
Because at the time of this story being written, Mac had already passed away, unfortunately, in 2015 at the age of 79. So it was Laura and her mom, Mimi, who was interviewed for this. So let me give you a little bit of background.
But Laura remembers Mac being nervous when he found it.
Yes.
Okay.
So now they're asking about this trophy, how it was her family, how she was there that day when it was found, and she has this distinct memory when they were driving home that he was excited, but didn't necessarily want to broadcast that they had found it. So let's talk a little bit about Mac.
Now you have my intrigue. Okay.
So Mac was never a jock, never even really a diehard sports fan. He grew up in Iowa. He was a son of educators. He ended up being an educator. So in 1964, Mac and Mimi moved to Arizona when he landed the teaching business at Arizona State. Mm-hmm. Mimi was not thrilled at the time to live amongst snakes and scorpions.
Who'd want to move from Iowa to Arizona? That sounds like a real raw deal.
But they fell in love with the area. They built a life in the desert, and Mac would go on to teach at Arizona State for more than 40 years. So definitely grew on them. And during his time, he met Kush.
Of course he did. When did they move there?
In 1964.
Yeah, of course he did. Yeah,
so
right,
Kush
brother.
Was the successful Arizona State coach. And so,
or substance? What would you say?
Coach.
No, substance. All right, gotcha. Yeah.
So Kush is the one that would make football an integral part of Mac and the Bowman's life. So the family attended home
also
games.
Pink Floyd records. He also made Pink Floyd's records an integral part of their life.
So they went to home games, sat in the faculty section, learned about the importance of the rivalry with the University of Arizona, and
learned how to roll a fat joint.
more than just like sports, like Mac enjoyed the social aspect of football, which I think a lot of people can enjoy, right? Like not everyone's a big X's and O's, but going to a tailgate, especially like a college football tailgate, is unlike anything else.
That's why we do this, brother. That's why we do it.
So they their house became known as the Big White House. That's what he would consider it. And the main residence was approximately 2,000 square foot, a 2-story office, and also had a 2-story office that Mac used to write, practice law in, and also was like a guest storage area.
Okay.
So because of that, the Bowmans hosted football get-togethers because they just had a nice size house and loved hosting people for that, not necessarily focused on the games, but just liked the energy and the people being around their house. So Cush and the other coaches would come over on special occasions before the season or after big wins. And Laura remembers Cush told her that one day she could become an Arizona
Dark Side of the Moon. But sorry, go ahead.
So that Laura had mentioned that, the coach had said, one day you'll become an Arizona State cheerleader. She ended up attending the University of Arizona instead.
Oh, I'm sure Mac was thrilled about that. No need to have it, but never mind. Not going to disparage poor Mac's daughter.
So, although the timing at this point was fuzzy, the Laura's sister, so she has an older sister, Patty. Patty remembers because Laura's a little younger and probably wasn't paying attention to this kind of thing, but Patty remembers the cups being at this party.
Whoa, what?
Yes. Because it was her job to dust it along with the rest of the silver, displaying it in the family room for people that are coming over to get to see.
No way. Real?
She says that the coaches passed this trophy around like it was the Stanley Cup, which I hope literally means Schlitz's were drunk.
Forget drinking. Listen, the guy's name is Cush. All right, they were filling that thing up with the water. They were cutting off the Mountain Dew can. They were putting it in there, Mountain Dew bottle, putting it in there. They were doing some GBs out of that bad boy.
So there's no doubt that
GBs is gravity bongs, folks. Gravity bongs.
So at this point, like it was very clear to everyone the importance and value of this cup, right?
Yeah, right. You gotta get high with it. So yeah.
So that's why Laura and her mom think, as they were thinking back, that maybe one night after a football party or maybe the next morning, Mac took the cup to the First Congregational Church because he knew that the vault would be a safe place to put it. So the way that it's not explicitly spelled out, but from what I'm understanding is I think it was not necessarily a cup that would always stay at their house, but maybe it would be something passed along from the coaches from here to here, but it would always end up at their house because that's where everyone was going to be on those special occasions.
Yeah.
And obviously you want to see it and celebrate it. So
even like when they're not being Arizona State, just like in general, like that's crazy. That's like, when the Pens won the cup, that'd be like, mid-season, you beat like the Avalanche. And it's like, all right, guys, come back to my place. Crosby's like, come back to my place. We're going to have pasta carbonara. I'm going to serve it out of the Stanley Cup. Like that's
right.
So
that's why when they were trying to brainstorm just in general, like the timing, like they said was kind of fuzzy. It's found in the 80s.
I believe it was a guy named Cush. The timing was some of the details were a little fuzzy.
So again, it's like, so everyone kind of knew it was in Arizona State's hands for all of those decades, but you never really knew who the owner was. And there were the last kind of rumors were in the 70s is last time, people kind of saw it. And so this is Laura speaking. When we were trying to brainstorm in the 1970s who had access to that vault and was really involved in Arizona State football, because those would be the only people that would have really had access to it, Laura said her and her mom just kept going back to her dad. And while there was probably no ill intent, Laura thinks that her dad, she said that her dad was an honest man and he would have never intentionally withheld the cup for his own reasons.
Yeah.
But securing it in the vault and forgetting about it, thinking that maybe Kush had taken home the trophy instead. That was what they think happened.
Well, folks, the thing about hanging out with Kush and continually participating in social events with Kush, one of the side effects they're in is memory loss. And I can see it being extremely possible for someone who hangs out with Kush that much to just misplace something and forget where you put it.
And think it was someone else, right?
And think that all the time. Yeah.
Well, why don't you scroll down a little bit, get a look at old Mac.
That's Mac on the yellow couch.
Yep.
Dude, I wish he was my professor. What did he teach?
Business, I believe.
Hell yeah, he
business
did.
Probably.
Hell yeah, dude. He's giving the business. He's doing the Wolf of Wall Street. Give us another drink. 7 minutes after that. 7 minutes after that. 5 minutes after that. Yeah. Oh my God. Incredible, dapper human being. Dude, how cool, man. Like, he looks like a cool dude. This does not look like someone who, I'll be very honest, this does not look like someone who cherishes physical possessions. He himself is someone who is blessed by at least 2 girls, because he hasn't, Laura and then her older sister, Patty. So he cares more about people, does not care as much about physical things. I don't think this is someone who would nefariously. I do now, circling back full circle, I do like the nefarious side of rivalries. I do like people who commit theft and thievery and have things missing for years and years. Mac, God rest his soul, does not look like someone who would participate in that. He looks like someone who enjoys Kush and enjoys the good times in life, and just happened to misplace a wonderful relic of college football trophy once upon a time after a long night out. And hey, who amongst us hasn't? Let he who lives in glass houses cast the first stone, or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes. So we had talked about it was originally Mac and the church leader Jim Riggins that found the cup. Riggins himself was the one that delivered it to Arizona State, and that's where it was placed in the university archives. The trophy was displayed in the historic president's residence, as well as the Hayden Library on campus. But in 1995, in anticipation of the Super Bowl coming to Sun Devil Stadium, the Art Museum at Phoenix Sky Harbor, which is the airport, asked the state's major universities to contribute to a sports exhibit. And the airport wanted to showcase some historic items so that visitors, coming to watch Super Bowl could better understand just sports in the state. And
Pittsburgh has a statue of Franco.
Yes. So John Alquist, he isn't sure of the date. He doesn't remember why he was in this airport in Sky Harbor at the time. But Alquist came across this sports exhibit, and at the time he had worked with the University of Arizona Alumni Association. So while he is also an unofficial sports historian, he helped designate a few of those items from that university for that airport collection. But as he was examining the Arizona memorabilia, he walked over to the Arizona State display, and he saw the cup and informed his friend, Frank Soltis Jr., that the historic cup was indeed real. So that just kind of tells you it was a folklore. And Arizona, Arizona grads, why would they ever believe it was real, right? Sure, there's an archive.
You never had it.
Right. You just maybe assume that, okay, maybe it was exchanged back in 1899, but there's no chance that thing still, is around almost 100 years later, let alone now seeing it at this airport. So Alquist and his friend Soltis wrote letters to athletic officials explaining the cup's history and how it needed to become the official rivalry trophy. Unfortunately, no one was interested.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Because the rivalry at that point had different trophies over the years. One was in place, although I could not find exactly what that one was. So they just kind of were like, we don't need it, right?
What?
Yeah, I'm with you, because
I would say
those guys are us. Those guys are walking into that, airport being like, what is this thing? Immediately, this needs to be part of the rivalry, right? Like,
I mean, I would say kids these days, but like adults in the 90s, what are you doing? Yeah, you know what, man? I tell you what, our rivalry, Arizona State, everyone tunes into that every year. We certainly don't need a cup from 1899 that looks simply gorgeous to enrich that rivalry. Yeah, we don't need that. What are you doing, University of Arizona? Do I need to take off this hat? Do I need to take off my Wildcat hat right now? Like, what are we doing? This is the 90s logo too.
Don't fear.
I'll never look at this hat the same.
Alquist and Soltis are men after our own heart, because
they
did not give up. They contacted Michelle Schultz from who ran the University of Arizona alumni office in Phoenix and explained their position. She loved it. She loved the idea. She called her equivalent at Arizona State and presented the idea of sharing the trophy, possibly displaying it at Jim Click Hall of Champions in Tucson. And the former Arizona State archivist Robert Spindler, who she brought this up to initially. So Alquist, Soltis see it at the airport, try and contact people. They're not interested. They find the right person at the alumni office in Arizona
which you think would just be a person
of UA. She's all in. And then she talks to... Who
did they contact? Like some like undergrad that was like, yeah, man, I don't really know. Me and my buddy Kush are going to get together later at the pool. And like, man, like old cup, like we don't really vibe with that, man.
I don't know.
Come on.
Well, so she's psyched. She's thinking about ideas on how this thing can be. She reaches out to the former archivist for Arizona State. His name was Robert Spindler, and he wasn't interested and hung up the phone. And this is
what are these people doing?
This is what Michelle says.
What do you have better to do?
If you ever had anyone hung up on you or had a phone call that didn't go your way, you look at the receiver as if it's going to give you some kind of answer as to why that happened. So I'm looking at the phone in my hand and said, oh, this is not ending here.
What was this woman's name?
Michelle Schultz.
What year was this?
Or Schultz? I think it's around the 1995 still. It's still
God. That time. I tell you what.
Receiver.
If I wasn't married with two kids, Michelle, sup, babe? You're a woman after my own heart. Love it.
So now it's getting escalated. So Michelle emailed the Arizona president at the time, Peter Likens, and finally got the answer she wanted. Likens told Michelle that he had planned to have dinner soon with the Arizona State president, Laddie Kaur, and he would bring up the cup. And about a week later, Likens emailed Michelle with a simple order: make it happen.
Hell yeah.
So a committee was formed with members from
Michelle
both
to get things done. Shout out Michelle Lee.
Well,
leave it to Michelle to get things done.
Michelle gave other people a chance, and then eventually was like, F this, going to the top. Don't care. So a committee was formed with members from both schools. Spindler, who was the Arizona State archivist that said no, could not accept the idea of football players holding up 100-year-old trophy in celebration. So a replica was made to award to the winning school on the field, and the actual trophy would be delivered separately. So Spindler, in this case, came around and also created an official protocol where the trophy would be referred to as the Territorial Cup, and that it would always be handled with white gloves, and it would never be cleaned for preservation purposes.
I love the white glove thing. Like, that's what this trophy deserves. It's like the Stanley Cup. Right. It needs to be white glove treatment.
And if I scroll down a little bit, you can see a picture of Todd Graham, who was the former Arizona State head coach back in 2012. This is, again, remember, the replica that they have on the field, which is a smart, I think that's actually a smart thing. I know we typically like trophies to be exchanged on the field, but with this kind of thing, I'm happy that it's a replica on the field, but they still do have the OG that does get sent to different, to each university.
Bro, I remember whenever I first graduated college, I was working in downtown Pittsburgh, and we went to the Qdoba around the corner, and they had the high octane special, which was because Todd Graham said he was bringing high octane football to the University of Pittsburgh, and the high octane special, I have no idea what it includes. But then I also have a shirt because my cousin and her husband were both, well, he was an athlete. They're both alumnus of University of Pittsburgh. He was an athlete. His dad is actually on the all-time leading scorer for basketball for Pitt, top 25. Brian Generovich. Shout out Brock and Stacy. But I have a shirt that says high octane football from a high octane university. And that's all Todd Graham right there. So the fact that I see Todd Graham's fat face after he I mean, he was hot. He was a hot coach because he went from Pitt to Arizona State. He thought that was going to do big things for him. Look at him with those little wristbands.
Is that why he has the Hulk Hogan sweatbands on his?
Yeah, because that was hot. He helped to,
so hot right now.
He helped to I don't know what his offense would be called. I don't think it's a version of like the air raid or something like that, but it might be a version of air raid. But it was, fast tempo, high pace, high octane, if you will, offense. And he was supposed to go to, Arizona State and do big things. Well, I don't know how many people really remember Todd Graham at this point, except for people like you, me, Pitt fans, Arizona State fans, and just other sycophants who just love college football. So that's like a blast from the past right there.
So we're finally here, November 8th. 2001, Arizona Governor Jane D. Hull issued a proclamation recognizing the Territorial Cup's renewal as the symbol of the Arizona State rivalry, with the victor taking possession. And the NCAA certified the Cup as the nation's oldest rivalry trophy. So just to give you guys now the timeline of the Cup history, 1899 to 1900, it was awarded to the Normal School. It appeared in that football photo that you described in 1900. From 1900 to 1970, no one knows. No one knows. They have no idea what is going on with that trophy. Obviously, Arizona people don't even believe it exists, and Arizona State people probably think it's just long lost. Then there was rumors of it surfacing at Arizona State locations and parties. Mac, we're looking at you. And then it was found in 1983 in that Tempe church. It was displayed in the airport at 1990. So between 83 and 95, it was in the president's residence on Arizona State's campus. Was displayed in 95, which then brought the Arizona alums to the table. And then officially in 2001, it was named the rivalry trophy and has been ever since.
Love it.
What a story.
Let's get to our scores.
So,
is there anything else with the rivalry? Well, actually, you know what? Hold on. Before we get to our scores, is there anything else with the rivalry? There's one thing about the rivalry that I've always liked that I did want to mention. I don't have any like facts, figures, details about it, just like secondhand accounts. But
no, I felt that, especially in football, these guys have not had too many historic years on either side, right? An occasional pro here and there. I just kind of wanted the story of the trophy to drive this episode. So, but please, before we get to our
actually, you know what? I'll save it. I'll save it for for my scores because I want to have it reflected appropriately.
Okay, so just to give people a reminder of our rankings, we ranked the trophy on on a scale from 1 to 5 for the looks of the actual trophy, the history of the actual trophy, and then we look at the rivalry, and it's again scale 1 to 5. How intense is the rivalry? How competitive it is, and then just our overall ranking on if it's a low, middle, or high tier trophy and rivalry. So, Mike, what do you think?
All right. Looks 5. Done. I wax black about enough. EJ, what do you think?
5.
Yeah. That say no more. This is where, either watch look at our Instagram. You can see the pictures. It's fantastic. History, EJ, that was every bit of the journey I need to be taken on tonight. Listeners, I hope you enjoyed it as well. That's a shout out, Doug Haller. You're the man for putting this together. Shout out to Mac. Shout out to Laura. You are fantastic. It's 5.
Agreed. Anytime you have a trophy that old that gets lost for 80 years and we have the information on how it was found, potentially why it was lost and how it was lost, and then just how it. I think this is such a unique history because unlike the Little Brown Jug, where it was established old and it was great and given to each team all these years, this doesn't happen, right? You don't have a trophy that's over 100 years old and then lose it for it to be found and now still being circulated between the two universities. I mean, that's while it doesn't have a bunch of maybe vitriol between the two universities on like stealing this, damaging that, I just think that's a hell of a story.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so we're 5 on looks in history. Rivalry. So your feedback actually painted my view of the rivalry itself, because I say painted very specifically because one of the cool things that I know about Arizona State is that when they play, stadiums are like a valley, and like there's a big A on the mountainside, and like people will like rush up, like one team like rushed up to paint the A one color, and the other like opposing forces try to stop it from painting them another color, which I've always thought. I had a very good friend who like went to Arizona State. And when he was going there, he was telling me about this. And I was just like, that sounds like the coolest thing ever. Like, I've never heard of that in college football. That's fantastic. That being said, the fact that there are people, multiple people on both sides of this rivalry, they can hear about this cup and be like, meh, like, we don't need that. Like, that kind of like personally offends me a little bit.
Sure.
So maybe I'm being a little bit harsh because of like the truths that Doug uncovered here, but I feel like if like that is something, I feel like it happens once, it's coincidence. If it happens twice, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So I'm gonna give this a 3 because like how much does it really mean to you if you have a trophy from 1899? And you don't automatically like jump out of your seat with excitement that this thing exists. So for that, I'm going to give it a 3 because while I do think people care about this rivalry, the fact that you treat that trophy in such a way is damning in my mind. So I was going to give it a 4, but that information makes me want to give it a 3. So
I'm not going to hold it against the few because in a lot of things nowadays, you can have a few minority voices that are louder than the majority, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're right. So I'm going to go with the 4, and
it's very meta
for a couple of reasons. It's because you actually turned the tide. I'm glad. I'm going to make some assumptions. It's an in-state rival, so I'm going to assume those schools hate each other. I love the story you just told about that football rivalry between trying to paint the A. I think that's awesome. My mom, actually, funny enough, she worked in Tempe. Her State Farm building overlooked the stadium, and they could look into the stadium from their building. So I'm going to go with the 4. and this is mainly because of ignorance, but I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt, and I'm not going to hold those couple people, I'm not going to hold them their view of the rivalry trophy against everyone, because at least the presidents were both on board. So I'm going to go with 4.
I'll say this. If our Instagram post on this episode gets 100 likes from people from Arizona or Arizona State, I will retroactively amend to 4 as my score. If it gets 1,000 likes from people from Arizona State, I'm going to give it a 5. So I'll say that. Show me how much you care about this rivalry, because right now you have, as EJ mentioned, you have a few speaking for many. And it was the 90s, is a weird time. I get it. But wasn't that weird? We had Friends, we had Seinfeld. So come on. Let's hear it. Let's hear it, people. Show me how much you care, and I will retroactively change my score. Hell, I send that out to anyone. I send that out to whoever else I may have offended in the past. If you interact with us on social media and you change my mind can be changed. I am malleable. I am clay. I can be swayed with the wind, my friends. So you tell me how much something that I said pisses you off. I will hear that. I will accept that. And I may or may not change my mind. But in this instance, I will change my mind.
Shay, Robbie, this is on you guys. You guys have the grassroots out there in Arizona. We will definitely be tagging you in this. Because we finally got to it. It's on you.
Yeah, it is. All right, and then competitiveness. This is where EJ, can you remind me of the overall record here? It's pretty close, right?
51 wins to 44 losses and 1 tie in favor of Arizona.
Yeah, I mean that's super competitive. I'm going to give it a 4 just because it's, again, no offense to Arizona people, but I feel like the Arizonans will understand. It's not the same caliber as other, it's not Alabama Auburn, right? But obviously it's extremely close rivalry, and
Auburn is nowhere near the amount of wins as Alabama.
Oh, fair.
I would be careful with how you're thinking about this. I think it's just a competitiveness, no matter if it's Indiana and Purdue, or if it's five done, and people care. People do care. So I'm going to go with it being. I was going to go 4.5, because while there is,
you know what? I'm keeping my 4. You asshole! You tried to change my.
Listen, well, it's a 7-game difference, but you have to remember a lot of those early Arizona wins, 20 of them were in the first 22 meetings. Once Arizona State became an actual university, I think it's been basically a coin flip since then, right? Obviously Arizona State rushed, got a plus 13 to get back into this game, and then it was probably pretty even. So that's why I think it's probably closer to a 4.5, but it's not. It's a pretty close threshold, and then for me, this is a top tier.
Oh, easy top tier. Yeah,
easy.
I mean, there goes my microphone. Top tier for sure. I'm doing the same thing. This was awesome, EJ. This was really good insight. Shout out Doug. Shout out Laura. Shout out Mac. Shout out Shout out Mimi. Shout out Patty. Shout out Kush. Shout out, what's the name of the guy from University of Arizona? It's a very familiar last name. John what?
Oh, Alquist? The one
Alquist. Of course, it's Alquist. Shout out all you guys for just putting this information out there into the ether and doing the things that you do. You're all fantastic. And shout out to you, Edmund, my good friend, for weaving such a wonderful tale for me and for all of Whiskers and Whiskeys Nation.
Well, reminder, this game will be played this year, but will not be played this week. This week is week 0. We didn't even talk about that at the beginning. We will definitely be giving While our Pick'em Challenge is not going to start this week, we will give kind of a pod pick for this week. This is your guys' chance to use it as practice, tune up your game, because when week 1 comes, the Pick'em Challenge is on.
Hawaii is 12-2 in season opener. Since 2010, they are currently giving up 39 to Delaware State, who had to take 2 planes out to Hawaii due to air travel challenges. Food for thought.
And that's going to do it for us this week. Follow us on Instagram at whiskers.whiskies, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, we're going to hammer you with this in the coming week anyway, but join our Pick'em Challenge. For you listeners that didn't do it last year, you have nothing to lose. Just a reminder, I
cannot have Ryan Willard win again.
If you beat, as a listener, you beat both Mike and I in this challenge, we will, as you saw from Ryan's post, give you some swag and buy you a nice bottle of whiskey, and you have to pay $0 to join. So
if this episode blows up, we are so fucked. You realize that? I need a whole new chimney. I need a whole new chimney in my new house, and we might be screwed. So if it blows up, that's great. Maybe I can retire and just do this full time. We'll find something to do. But either way, just get into the challenge, folks. Maybe pour.
Yeah, let's do it. So join us next week when we talk about the Black Diamond Trophy.
Ooh.
For Mike, I'm EJ. Always remember, too much of anything is bad, but too much good whiskey is barely enough.
Cheers, boys.